Welcome back. Now, sitting behind me here is the project we're going to be working on today. Before we do that, one of the biggest things we talked about in this trailer was the warp or twist that was in the center of this trailer. So that was a must to get straightened before we do anything to this. Now originally I intended to straighten this myself, but a neighbour told me that there's a guy, they're actually the same company that does the log splitters, Carl's Engineer, and they straighten trailers. Well, the father does the straightening of the trailers. He seems to be a bit of a whiz with a digger at straightening trailers. So I left it up with him and I got it back a week later. And it now is as straight as a rush. So we even plated the whole C channel here the whole way along. So she's reinforced now and she ain't gonna go anywhere again. She's stronger now than when she left the factory. So now we can start doing the real work to this trailer and getting it into proper working order again. Right, so we're in an awkward enough wee trailer to get in. It doesn't like to move too easy. I'm going to pull this door down so the light's not interfering with the camera, and there's no wind blowing in either. So that's an awful lot more comfortable to work like this. So what we're going to do is basically we're going to start here at the front and make our way back. So the story of this hitch is I started ordering parts for this. I bought a new damper for the inside here. I bought a new lock for the top here. Then I seen the grommet was ripped, so I'd have to go about ordering one of those. But then I seen that there's a lot of side play. I can see it on the camera, but you can hear it. This stuff all started adding up then. And then I started thinking towards the line of putting a whole new hitch on it. You have to understand this is a 2002 trailer. And the guy that had it was pulling a mini digger. Plus this wasn't always a plant trailer. This probably left the factory as a cattle trailer. One of those types that just the body lifts off the chassis. And then you're left with, well, basically the same thing as a plant trailer. It's the same design underneath. It just doesn't have the slide underneath for the ramps. The moral of the story is it pulled probably a lot of heavy stuff around in its lifetime. There's naturally going to be wear on the hitch. So I just said rather than trying to repair this, it might be just a safer option to put a whole new hitch on it. And that's exactly what we're going to do today, and that will replace everything in one lump. So here's our new hitch assembly. It's a Knott's hitch, just exactly like the one that's coming off it. There's no wear on them bolts anyway, they're okay. So the dolly wheel that come on this isn't the original one, and it's been welded top and bottom. Someone has extended it to make it work on this trailer. We're putting on a new hitch, we'll just have a new one on it. Now we'll lift this collar off. There should be a wee bearing in here, just be careful of. There it is. Now this should go in to that now, and then we put this in from above. There it is. Alright, so the handle goes on. Let's go down here. Alright, so now we have the rims off. I'm just looking at them here on the inside. Now I bought new tyres all around for this, and my idea was that I was going to sand the rims and recondition the rims, but I'm just looking at the inside of them here, and there's an awful lot of rust on the inside, and look at the kinks there is as well. You can see that, and that's the fourth one I've seen with a kink in it. So I made a phone call about that, and I didn't realise the rims were actually so cheap for it. Once you buy them as a package, for a sake of about €20 extra, I can get brand new rims on every one of those that are already painted and already done. I'd be only wasting money. It'd probably cost me more to kind of root out them myself, and there'd still be rusty rims just painted. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Alright. I don't know if someone done work in here, if these have never been opened, but you can always tell by the paint that's on it that that hasn't been opened. So this hasn't been looked at or bearings changed or anything done to it in quite a while, and I don't feel any movement there. I don't think there's any issue with the bearings. So just tapping out the end of them castle nuts just to release that little groove there you see on the threads on both sides. Some people tap them in on both sides, but I'm not sure if I have a socket that size. I'm gonna have a look here and see what I have. A couple of different sets here. Well, maybe. Oh, yes, I do. I'm a 46. Hard a bit of spuds. Ah, look at that. Straight off. That doesn't happen too often. Alright, so the mic back on here. It's getting windy again, but if you want to look in there, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And this is the reason why I decided I'm going to change everything. Now, there's no shoe actually. You're down to steel there, so it's all disintegrated. You can see them brakes haven't been used in a long time, full of rust. It's a good job we're replacing all of this. Wait. Oh, finally. There we go. Alright, so it's the following day, and I wish I could say it's the morning, but it's not. It's late evening, it's 2:30 now, and I haven't got much time to spare before I have to go and get the cows into the farm and bring them home. And I was hoping that the rain had stopped. It's a miserable day. I've had a lot of rain this last while, an awful lot of rain. It gets very dark here. It was darker this morning, and makes it very hard for me to film here as well because it looks very gloomy when you're working. These cameras aren't designed for low light. The lens is so small on them, they don't let much light in, hence the reason you get a very dull picture. This hub here wouldn't come off. It's the only hub that wouldn't come off, and I've been battering at it. I put a chain with a crowbar to slam again it. I also used a bottle jack, where I fitted the bottle jack to the back of this chain to this and tried to jack it out, although my bottle jack when it's on its side wouldn't work for some reason, so that didn't work out. So what I done was I ordered a new hub puller for this. Hopefully it'll come now in 2 days, and we'll wait till that comes. When it comes, it'll just make light work hopefully of pulling that off. So what we can do is we can go around here, and I've done one already. Just removed the whole brake assembly, backplate and all off the stub axle. I'm going to continue around here, take the other 4 off, and then we start stripping down our cables. Right, so in here there are 4 Allen key studs that need to be removed. That'll slot in there, we'll hammer it into place because these are quite rusty, and then we get the impact to it. Oh dear, I didn't ring it off, look. So it has been sheared a while, so yeah. Okay. Got a bit of heat. This one, the whole sides of it is all rounded. Someone has been in here with something else trying to get this off. It's been a mess of it. Nope, that's not going to come out. Nope. A good good news is it's starting to rain again. Even better news, that stud came out. One piece. There we are. So you see this guy here that's left behind, I can put a nut on the end of that now and weld it, and that'll just screw out. It's no big deal. So we'll come back to them and do them all at the one time. We're just going to continue on here with brute force method and take the rest of these off. You can see here where the cables rub the axles, just from the wear. If you look over there on the far side, you can see it's just the wear and tear from rubbing against steel. So we're going to stop that from happening. There's another place there, look. I'm going to cover those cables to stop that from happening. Alright, so we're going to take out these studs. So take these studs out, we're going to put a nut over them like that. It's roughly around the same size. Threads on a little bit as well, maybe even better. And we'll just come along now and we're going to fill in there with weld, and then we're going to hopefully just unscrew it. The weld will also help to heat it up from behind. Just going to work it back and forth a bit. Right. Alright, that's two out. Right, now that we have the hubs done, the next thing I want to address is these guys. So there's a lot of rot on them U-bolts that's holding these leaf springs in place. So I'm going to mark this, a good old scriber, which has turned out to be an essential tool. And we're going to replace this, and we're also going to replace this damper. So that's the damper off. There's a new damper here. Probably a different name for them, but I'm just calling them dampers. Alright, so that looks quite good. That's the new damper on in place. Anyway, that's one done. There's 5 more to go. Alright, so that's them all done. Sometimes our best option is just take the grinder out and cut them off. You could spend half the day rooting at them and you'd be no better off, only worn out. So that's them all on. Next thing we need to do is have a look at these bushings that's in here. So these are our leaf springs, and if your bushings are worn, which I can even see from here the way this sticks out that is worn, you'll get movement like this. So the top one sits on the bottom one. That's how this works. So you only have one bushing to each intersection, if you want to call it. But if the bottom one is worn and moving like that, that means they'll all move, and what you'll get is a hell of a rattle on the road. So we're going to loosen this nut here, drop this leaf spring down, and we're going to get this bushing out and replace them. Alright, you see this bushing, look. No, there's nothing there at all. See, that shouldn't be moving around like that. That should be all one piece. So that is long gone. Look at the hole that's worn through the inside bushing as well. Completely worn out. You can also see in the bottom of the leaf springs here, the way it's starting to oval out the inside of the leaf spring. So that's been worn a long time. Now there is a piece of that bushing still in there. And this is the fun part. So I have to go in here and try to cut through that and try to get that piece out. Doesn't always be easy though. But once we get it out, it'll not be hard to put the new one in. So this is what our bushing should actually look like. That's our brand new one there. I'm just going to put a wee bit of oil on the surface just to help it to go into place. This is a rubber mallet. So just to finish it off, there's an old bottom of an old handle. I'm going to use it as a wooden punch. Now we can take out our prop, back up again. I got this little trolley jack when I was only about 14, and I was over the moon to get it because I felt like a real mechanic when I had it, because before that we were just lifting things with a tractor. Alright, so we've got some brand new bolts here. We're just going to put some copper grease on them. Right, pop through there. There she goes. We have all our bushings in now the whole way around our leaf springs. I'm after coming along and I'm after sanding, or I'm after using the wire wheel on the iron grinder, primer, and then a bit of black paint on top of that. I'll have to get a bit of emery cloth now and just clean this surface area here, shine that up again, because that's where our hub will fit on. Alright, now I hope you can hear me. I have a microphone on and the machine is still going here behind us. The meal auger's going as well, so it's quite loud at the minute. Nicole is finishing off washing the machine. Sophia is out cleaning the yard. Danielle is closing in the cows. So the girls are just finishing up for me. I'm going to do another hour at this tonight. Although it is gone 7 o'clock there now, it's not going to be dark for another while. Although light does fade fairly quickly now. The evenings are pulling in, but it's a lovely evening. No wind, no rain. So I said I'd just do a couple of small little jobs here tonight so we can get a little bit of a head start on tomorrow. So as you can see here, we're going all brand new. So these are the original nut, backing plates and shoes, just a full brake assembly because the other ones just weren't worth trying to save. And we also got new hubs to go along with it. But I got an email shortly after I purchased this trailer. A company called Trailer Spares, and they're based, that's their details there, based in Tralee in County Kerry. Michael, or maybe a short Mike, I see it on that there, but Michael is what I know him as. He sent me his number and asked me to give him a call, and I gave him a call. We had a long chat, and he said, don't waste your time on putting on individual parts. He had a good look at the video and he kind of knew by looking at the trailer what it needed. So he said, just get a full assembly. We sell them here off the shelf, and put on new hubs when you're at it. When you're going to go to this extreme, you might as well leave the trailer safe. So we got original backing plates, brakes assembly, and then these actually are third party, or spurious if you want to call it, hubs that he included along with it. So huge thanks to him for all the bits and pieces, even the U-boats and stuff he sent to us. So if you're looking for bits and pieces for whatever trailer you have, Teddy has all the bits and pieces that you could ever want for a trailer. So make sure you add them to your list and check them out. I'll put all their info also in the description, but yes, thanks very much to them for sponsoring today's video. So that should just slip on handy enough. I'm going to add some Loctite to these. I'm not sure if you need to or not, but I am going to put it on because I don't want them coming loose. There is a split washer on them as well, but at the same time, don't take a wee bit of Loctite, it'd do any harm. Anyone that goes to take these off again, God knows how long it'll be before these rot. But if they do and they want to take them off, all you have to do is add a bit of heat. Sit in there. Yeah, so we're just going to leave that on there like that for the night, just to keep it dry. Alright, so it's the following day, and it's been a very wet morning. It's just gone 11 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm on my way back with, in the back of this pickup, the wheels for that trailer. So we're going to get home now, and hopefully we might get an hour this evening if it dries up at all to get another wee bit of work done on this trailer. Right, so we've all our other brakes done now. We're back to this one here that gave us the trouble in the beginning, and I had a right bit of hammer at the back of it, the back plate here, trying to get behind it, hit it with a hammer. There wasn't a hope of it coming off, so I went and I ordered this on Amazonia, and it's just after landing here this morning. I'm going to get these studs, and hopefully this will make taking this hub off a lot easier. That's the gear, come on. Now that we have tension on it like that, you can see it does not want to come off. So what I'll do now is I'll give it a couple of taps of the hammer when it's on tension, and hopefully that'll break the friction between that outer race bearing and the stub axle itself. So when you start to see the grease in the bearings bubbling or starting to liquefy, you know it's probably warm enough. More power. Bloody hell. I think it's coming. Oh! We have her. Oh my God, what an effort. I honestly don't think there was any way that was coming off without them pullers. Right. There it is. Alright, so we'll just gently put this over with our friends. Back up from lunch here now, and I've put 2 coats of satin black on that there, which will just keep that area from rusting while that's drying. Now, these are our cables now. I have them laid out. So we have 3 different lengths, 6 cables in total, 3 for either side. So more or less the day I bought this trailer, I actually ordered these cables as part of some of the stuff that I got from the manufacturer, direct from the manufacturer. So before we can button up any of our hubs and get our lovely new wheels on, we do have to put our cables in first, because they connect, they come in from the back and they connect in the inside. So that's the next job. Let's get to that. So this comes in 2 halves. kind of looks like a rocket ship. That sits like that. The cable comes now and goes in there, and the sleeve of the cable will fit over that, and that's what holds the whole thing together. So we can pick out our longest cable to go to the back. That's it, just like that. This goes in here, and this sleeve just fits over. Now that is how easy it is to fit a cable in one of these. And that just sits in there in that slot, if you see it in there. And when that comes on the tension, when we have a tension in the front with the compensator, well, that will pull tight. And that will stay in place when that's all done. So yeah, that's one done. That's how easy it is. So we'll just finish this side here, fit all the cables, and get our hubs fixed properly. Alright, so I forgot to hit record there, but we are starting to feed our cables through here. So I have the back one done, just the one here on the top now, the middle one to do. That's it. Alright, well, a different day. That's the best way of putting it. It's raining, and it's raining here as I'm talking to you at the minute. It's as we say, wetting rain. It's the sort of stuff to go through you. It's like a drizzle. You can barely see it on the camera here, but it's that dense, soak you in a very short time. But I want to get a couple of things done here this morning, and it's not looking like it's going to clear, and I want to get this finished. So what we did here last night is we went round and we torqued up all of these castle nuts. Now when I say torque, it's very important that you do torque these to the right spec. You don't want to have them loose. That's correct, obviously enough, but you actually don't want to have them too tight either, because what you'll do is you'll put too much pressure on the bearing and your bearing will fail. This is what you call a torque wrench here. So you can set your foot-pounds on this here. It's quite a simple thing to use. So if you look at the cap here, for instance on this, you'll see it wrote on the back, and once she clicks, you know you're dead on at the right place. So it is important to torque these down right. The thing I need to do now is come along, and you'll see these little grooves here on the end of the stub axle. Get a little punch, and you punch in these two tabs, and that stops it from moving. That's it. Right, so because these hubs are spurious, they came with blank caps with nothing wrote on them, just a grey cap to go over them. But I decided I wanted to kind of keep the look of it original. Although they are spurious, I wanted to keep the look of them original on the outside. So I went and I ordered up these here, up from the same place, the original caps to go along with them. I think it just looks better. But I'd love across if you don't want to mark them, and just tap them in with a rubber mallet. That's it. As you can see, there's a lovely set of wheels here which I am itching to put on. But before we can do that, we have to adjust our brakes here on the drums. Before we start any of the adjustments up here, the drums is the first place where we start. To adjust the brakes on your own trailer, just contact the manufacturer, or you can look up videos on YouTube. Do not copy what I'm doing. When it comes to brakes, you want to kind of get it right, and I'm not an expert in this, so I don't have the qualifications to tell you how to do it. In any of this, for that matter, this is just the kind of work that I'm doing myself. I'm actually looking up the manufacturer specifications before I do anything, so I'm learning as I'm doing this too. So you should do the same. No matter what video you watch, even online, always check the manufacturer's specifications and how do you do so. And they sometimes have channels of their own to explain how these things are done. There's an adjuster at the back, there, and by turning that anti-clockwise, that will move the tensioner and will put pressure on the shoes touching the inner side of them hubs. So at the minute our hub is spinning freely now. Forward motion is when it locks up. It's got an auto release when you go backwards, so you don't test it when it's in backward motion. That allows the trailer to go backwards and releases the brakes automatically. You have to tighten them in a forward motion. So just as we're putting on the studs here, I'm putting on never sees onto the threads. I'm just going to slightly tighten them. Turn around as you tighten them because the wheel can move, and you want the stud to fit right into the groove. So I do find if you turn the wheel around to the bottom as you're doing it, all the studs seem to lay in better. I'm going to go ahead and put on the next 4, and then we'll pick it up from there. Alright, so there is our wheels on. It's lashing rain now again. What I need to do now is get this trailer up. I'm going to take these axle stands out on both sides, let her down on the ground, and then we can torque these up to the right spec. One thing also to make sure from my experience of working in a tyre place for a few years is that whenever you put on a new wheel, or especially when it's a new rim like that, after you do a few miles, go back and check. A lot of people don't, they think it'll just stay tight. Some do, but a lot of them loosen. So if you ever get a wheel change or a puncture repaired, go back and check the studs, because you'll find a lot of the times they have loosened. Right, so what we need to do here it comes out. So we have a threaded bar to put on here, which is a 10mm bar. I have got 2 lengths of it there, because I need some to make up these lads here. These are all rusted out as well, so they all have to be replaced too. So yeah, so this nut here will just lock it in place. So now it's just a matter of cutting up 2 threaded bars exactly the same length as these here, setting them up with the same nuts and bolts and fitting them onto our cables. But you can see out there how heavy the rain actually is, so I'm going to take a wee break to dry off for a second. Alright. Seeing here that comes with a kind of an oval washer. Put that on there, and I think we can put that on. Everything we're doing here, I'm adding never sees to it, because I don't want to have to come back to this and have to try to unsee stuff. That fits in there. Alright, so this pipe pops on there. And then we just finish it off with a lock nut. It's a little bit rusty in here in the centre, so I'm just going to run a drill bit into it just to clear it out. Okay. It's a couple of days later. I had abandoned this project for a while because, well, I have it finished anyway, but bad weather was one of the main reasons. I couldn't work out. It just got heavier and heavier rain. The last 2 days it's just been a washout. Last night was torrential rain all night, and as I speak there's a massive band of rain just coming towards me here. So I just after setting the brakes there, it doesn't take very long to do that. So how I did it was I locked off all the nuts that are coming from all the cables, made sure all of them are exactly adjusted to the same length, so when you do apply the brakes, or when the brakes are applied, that you're putting the same amount of tension to each brake, so every wheel is braking the same. So that's set. I locked off all the nuts. I then locked off the nut that's at the end of this rod here, but before I did that I pulled up the handbrake a few times just to check to see what position it was in. So one of the things that's kind of important with these is to make sure when you're setting your handbrake, you try to have it when the handbrake's up, that this bar here is vertical, or at 90 degrees here to the chassis, and that's usually where you're supposed to be. So I have it adjusted now that that's exactly where it is. So all I had to do there was just tighten that nut up until the handbrake was pulled a little more forward, because beforehand it was going too far back. That's what generally happens. If I need to adjust it again, which I might have to when the brakes start to bed in, I won't have to go underneath here. I'll make all my adjustment from this nut. By loosening that by there, I left enough thread on that shackle so that I can move this. You can get a pair of vice grips and just turn this back and forth and adjust your handbrake from there from then onwards. It'll need a good journey first, a good drive, and then I'll have to come back to them and probably readjust them slightly again, because when they bed in, the brakes are going to loosen, so I'll need to just probably retighten them slightly. That's normal with any brakes, but the work is done there and the heavy work is finished. The cables now, if you see them here, I'm thinking of actually, instead of covering them with a garden hose, having them suspended like that there. So a bit of rubber around here and just bolt it up to this and just have them suspended, that they can move but they're not touching the chassis. So we'll come back to that after, and we'll do that before we put our floor in. So the next video on this will be the finishing up of it. We will fix up just a couple of bits of wire, and these be tidied up, and then we'll come along and put our new floor on. I haven't picked a floor yet. I know the different types of floor we can put on, and I'm kind of swinging towards a recycled floor, recycled plastic. We will have a floor on it in the next video. I'm waiting now to start finding out what's gone madly wrong with our well pump. We'll see you in the next one.